ChatGPT Agent is here. OpenAI's new model combines deep research with their operator web browser into something very special and has a nice little AI sauce to it.
Oh, is it banger sauce?
Good morning. We have a banger for you today. We're going to launch ChatGPT Agent.
Note to self and Sam Altman, wake up before dropping a quote banger. We're going to walk you through exactly what ChatGPT Agent is, what it can do, what it can't do, and unfortunately what jobs might be replaced.
Mr. Pereira! Mr. Pereira, this is our time. 2025 is the year of agents, Mr. Pereira.
Ignoring that, plus Mark Zuckerberg has poached more OpenAI researchers. Elon Musk is dropping AI waifus. We're gonna get into that. Runway announced Act 2, which is incredible. It's gonna revolutionize the way us humans can puppet
Mr.
these.
Pereira, I don't think you understand that this is a revolution in AI.
Back to me, thank you. China's new Kimi K2 model shows that open source has a lot of juice left.
Mr. Pereira!
Mr. Pereira's my dad.
Hey, speaking of dads, Darth Vader raps this week.
Wait, that's all I had to do?
Yeah.
Great, glad you're back. Plus, we got new visual effects from Higgsfield, and that's always fun.
Robots that can replace their own batteries, y'all.
All of this and even more on a brand new episode of AI
for Agents, Mr. Pereira.
This is worse than the Zion rave.
I'm sorry, if this is AI for humans, everybody. Kevin, it is AI for humans, and this is a big week. We have been waiting for an OpenAI drop, and we got one. It is not GPT-5. We have not heard anything about this, but this is something
wait, is it
new.
the open source model, Gavin? Is it the open source model? Because they said I was going to... Oh, it's not
it's
that
all
either.
the things we didn't say were going to happen. That's right. This is a show that loves to talk about
our
things
crystal
that don't
balls
happen.
that we polished last week, those were wrong?
Oh, they're all wrong. We'll have to get them out at some point later in the show. But everybody, the big news this week is ChatGPT Agent. This is a new tool from ChatGPT that is actually using the name ChatGPT. So you can tell that means something special, right? For them, I think that's a big deal. Kevin, let me be clear. Papa Altman showed up to the web stream. Yes.
And that's always, it's like, it's Christmas, Santa's there. It's not just the elves in a bustling workshop. It also might be because they have no employees left. They're all at Meta.
That could also, we're going to get into that.
But regardless, he was there. So should we get to the announcement and dive in?
Yeah, so the funny thing is, basically what this is a really interesting use case of ChatGPT, where it's going to go and use combining deep research, their really cool product where you can go find stuff, plus Operator, their mobile web browser, into one new thing. But Kev, let's kind of hear from Sam first from this live stream what this kind of agentic moment feels like right now within their company.
So we started launching agents earlier this year. We launched deep research, we launched Operator. And people were very excited about this. People could see that now AI was going off to do complex tasks for them. But it became clear to us that what people really wanted was for us to bring those capabilities and more together. People wanted a unified agent that could go off, use its own computer, and do real complex tasks for them.
While wearing a milkmaid outfit and having demon horns. And
That's not what they're saying, Kevin. Sure. That's not what they're saying. Keep playing it.
That's not this. Okay,
That's
we're going to get to that
is.
later. If you tuned in for that, which I know you have, we're going to get to that later, but we'll continue.
That could seamlessly transition from thinking about something to taking actions to using lots of tools, using the terminal, clicking around the web, even producing things like spreadsheets and slides and much more. And people wanted to be able to do this over a long time horizon and sort of for universal tasks. So the team has been working super hard to bring that together.
Now, this agent, if it were to bounce on, say, a trampoline on the moon, how does the gravity affect the jiggle physics, Gavin?
This is all non-gravity based agents, Kevin. There's no visual for this. This is all things that are happening with text, unfortunately.
Wake me when we talk Grok.
Okay, fine. We'll get you back up with Talk Rock. Let us talk about this and why this is a big deal, though, because there are some really important things to know. First of all, this is not a new model. It is a tool set that they are unleashing for everybody to use. So first and foremost, everybody should know is it's rolling out to Pro and Plus users very soon. If you're a Pro user, that's the $200 a month plan. You might have access to it right now. Plus is supposed to get it very soon as well. You will get 400 queries a month on the Pro, at 40 on the Plus. So it's kind of entry point. But Kevin, what it does is actually quite interesting. It is a combination web search plus terminal action with this underlying deep research model on it. So in the demo, in the live stream, they showed it trying to go do a couple things. They basically send it away to go get these guys all outfitted for a wedding, right? So what was interesting about this is they basically said, hey, I need you to find an outfit and a gift for this wedding. And it gives them like the website invite. So it's like, find the formal code, find what sort of gifts they want, and go bring this stuff back to me. And it literally goes away for a very long time.
And when you say find this, find that, the prompt was a little beefy in terms of what it wanted the agent to do, like broke all that stuff down. But it didn't say, go find the dress code and then go find something that matches it and this, that, the other. It just said, find me something to wear. Yeah. And so the context here is it crawled the wedding registry or the wedding invitation website, figured out where it was going to be, looked up the average temperature and weather for that, looked at the dress code on the site, factored all that in, went out, crawled the website, found several pieces of clothing that might fit a certain budget, prepared them into a chart along with travel options and this, that, the other. And, this is an agent that, the entire demo was what? The entire conference was like about 25 minutes start to finish. Yeah. This thing took about 20 minutes to run, to go fully complete. And that's the way this works in a very interesting way, that some people are approaching we're going to take over the browser on your computer, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago with Perplexity's efforts. This is running in the cloud. This is in OpenAI's servers. It is running and doing its thing, and then tugging on your pant leg if it needs you to intervene, right? If it needs sensitive data, credit card info, or if it's at a critical fork in the road and doesn't know what to do, it'll ask you.
Yeah, it'll ask you, and at one point at the end of it, it lets you take over to kind of do that final step, because it's not, I don't think at this point, like doing financial transactions. The other thing that's really cool about this, which I think is something that's much needed, is it's interruptible. So if you, in the middle of your agentic search,
it can jump in and just totally crash your train of thought.
Just like you, Kevin. Just like you. You're so good at it. But yeah, so if you, in the middle of your wedding planning, think, oh crap, I also need to rent a car, you can stop it and you can say like, hey, I also need to rent a car, add that to your list, and we'll go do it. So there's a couple really important things to know about this. One, first and foremost, is that it is coming now-ish, right? So like, it is not something they are holding back on. Kevin, the thing I kept thinking watching this, when I saw some of the benchmarks, it did very well on some of the benchmarks we talked about last week that Grok did well on, Humanity's Last Exam and Frontier Math. It did very well on them when it was a tool-based system. And again, this is the O3 model, not their next model, supposedly behind it. Kev, there are two benchmarks that I think are really important. One is called Web Bench and one is called Spreadsheet Bench. And these are both kind of boring sounding benchmarks, but what they are benchmarks based on usage of tools. And Web Bench is about how well the thing can browse the web and do things in that space. Spreadsheet Bench is how well it can kind of do these things in spreadsheets. And what I want to point out in these things is how close they are to human. And that closeness to human is legit. And I think that, we're all going to get our hands on this, and I'm sure there will be disappointing things in the beginning and it will get worse over time. But as we talked about a couple weeks ago, Anthropic CEO came out and said like 50% of entry-level jobs might be going away. This is the thing that they are all kind of working on in some form, right? This idea that like within the tools that a normal person uses, suddenly there will be AIs that will be able to do pretty complicated work. And when you think about what the average white-collar entry-level worker is doing, it's not that far away from seeing these be able to do that if it works. And again, we have not been hands-on with this yet. There will be problems, I'm sure, but you can see the trajectory of this happening.
I was going to say, even if it doesn't work in the next 48 hours in the way that we kind of intuitively hope that it does or expect that it will, in the next 4 to 8 months, it will. So if you're having some sort of feelings about, this sort of thing, right? Like, it's coming, and this was actually the first time I had one of the demos up, and my wife April remarked like, "Oh, this gives me a feeling. This is the one that's giving me a feeling." For example, they wanted some stickers made for an event, right? So they fed it a photo of a dog, which is their OpenAI mascot, as they said, and they said, "Let's go get some stickers made and use." I think it was Redbubble or a site like that they've had stickers printed with before. Well, it takes the image and runs it through its own image model to get a version of it that would be sticker friendly with specific geometry and colors. And then it goes to the site and figures out where the stickers need to be shipped and how many need to be made and what that cost is going to be. And then when it's done, which is a much quicker search, it again tugs the pant leg, and the human can then go and see, okay, where are we at in the process? it needs me to intervene, like confirm the shipping address and give the credit card info. You can then, which I think is pretty trick, go back and watch a video of it. So you can see exactly what it did and make sure it's going to where you want it should be going, and this, that, the other. It also planned a cross-country, let's go to every stadium road trip, right? And optimized where those things should be and optimized the route for events along the way that the person wanted to go to, and then plotted it on a map. And it's doing all these things that I'm like, yeah, there was a point in my life where I had an assistant that would do stuff like this for me. Yeah. And it was more than $200 a month. And this is coming to the $20 a month tier. So if this is one of those moments that gives you that feeling in your tum-tum for whatever reason, that's valid.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to kind of be aware of that aspect. And there's another aspect that Sam specifically tweeted about after this came out, which is the security aspect, because we are now turning a lot of people into active AI agents on the live web. And what I mean by that is there's an opportunity now for you can send your AI agent to do a bunch of stuff. So Sam had this very long tweet where he talked about it, and I think he's very proud of the team. But then he did say, although the utility is significant, so are the potential risks. We have built a lot of safeguards and warning into it, and broader mitigations than we've ever developed before, from robust training to system safeguards to user controls, but we can't anticipate everything. In the spirit of iterative deployment, we are going to warn users heavily and give users freedom to take actions carefully if they want to. Kevin, what do you think happens after something like that is said?
Well, I think that's, I mean, what happens is someone builds a website that tries to trap an agent and do masquerading as something that it's not and extract credit card information from it, right? The same way we see prompt injection or jailbreaking of these LLMs, someone will target these systems very heavily to get it to present to the user, hey, I'm just trying to make those stickers that you wanted, boss. When in reality, I'm just handing things over to a fraudulent site and giving them the data. Now, I expect at first users are going to be like, ugh, this thing is way too guardrailed. It's warning me too much. It's actually easier for me to just go and do the darn thing myself. And then per, the stated mission, I think they'll start relaxing that. But what will happen when the first agentic victim of fraud
and it will
is
come
out there? It's going to happen.
I mean, that's part of what
will
this
the
is,
agents
right?
be better than your mom or my mom on Facebook clicking and falling for something, right? For a deep fake of Elon Musk, which almost happened to my parents. Like,
all of this is a really important kind of turning point. And I think ultimately, we hope that there are systems set up that make these agents safe. Of course, the AI safety people, the ones that are very concerned about AIs getting better and smarter and doing all the bad things, are going to see this and be, very kind of wary of what happens here. The other thing that goes along with this is that OpenAI did delay their open source model last week. I didn't really even get a date for it. It was supposed to come out last week and they didn't give a date. So maybe there's something connected to that in this way. But also, I guess the good news here is that Sam is trying to be, at least in word, very safety cautious, right? And I think he's getting ahead of things that could happen. But also, we will see how powerful it is. We'll see how powerful this thing actually is.
He also tweeted about the jobs aspect, which we were just touching on. He said, one, people will do a lot more than they could before. Ability and expectation will both go up. Great. That's what I needed. More expectations. Two,
more
care.
More responsibility. Fantastic.
Still care very much about other people and what they do. Three, still be very driven by creating and being useful to others. He then says, for sure, jobs will be very different, and maybe the jobs of the future will look like playing games to us today, while still being very meaningful to those people in the future. Do you feel any sort of way about those words?
I mean, I do understand what he's saying about jobs changing over time, right? The thing that everybody in our audience should realize is that if you looked at what we're doing right now, just to be clear, Kevin and I are not getting paid enough to do this as our jobs, but there are lots of people who do this as their job and do get paid very well. They would look like, 100 years ago, the farmers would look at those people and be like, those people aren't working at all. They're just sitting and talking and having fun, or they're just chatting with each other. There are jobs now that do look that way. I think the big kind of shocking moment is going to be how meaningless so much of the work that a lot of people do on a regular basis is. When I say meaningless, I don't mean to them, because everybody needs some sense of work meaning. You go to work and you do something that means something to you. What I mean is the actual work that they are doing. If you are a spreadsheet analyst or you are a person that is plugging numbers into a spreadsheet, there's not a lot of deeper meaning in that work itself. And a AI probably could take that over for you. So this in some ways can be read as like, hey, we're all in this kumbaya together, but could also be read as a little bit of a warning to people who are doing jobs that are going to be usurped by these AIs. And again, I think we are now past the Rubicon of this not being sci-fi anymore. We are in a world where this is possible. It may not be right now today that some AI is going to go out there and do your accounting job, but it is coming very fast.
Well, the good news is if you're willing to sacrifice sleep for almost a week and you happen to be one of the most talented like coders on the planet, you can still best these machines, Gavin.
Just barely, though. Just barely, Kevin.
Go, humans, go.
Yeah.
Go, humans, go.
So this is another thing that happened is that OpenAI entered a coding bot into the
@Coder World Tour Finals heuristic.
Yeah, so this is a very nerdy competition. There's a very kind of nerdy tweet thread from one of the people that was on OpenAI's team in this thing that's really interesting. But this was an autonomous agent running in a coding competition, and it almost won. And this is, to Kevin's point, these are the best competitive coders in the world. And the only way the one guy won is that he slept for like 3 hours throughout the entire thing, got up and pushed himself through it. I mean, Kevin, the thing that I saw somebody tweet about this, but like the thing that it really reminds me of is John Henry. Do you know the John Henry story?
Is this the guy with the big bat? And then he
no,
didn't
that's
take the
Casey.
first.
That's Casey.
He didn't take the first few swings because he was like, "I'm so good."
John Henry is a famous American folklore about a guy who says he can dig a tunnel faster than a steam engine can. It is about, actually it might be about digging coal, but it's about digging. And so he beats the steam engine, but it's so clear by the end of it that he's basically toast and the steam engine is just ready to go again. It's kind of a parable about this idea of like, you can't really fight progress ultimately. So what's so interesting about this in tandem with the ChatGPT agent launch is that we are just seeing this idea of these AI models. Now, whether or not they get to the stage of like super intelligence or not, we are now at the place where they are getting close to doing the work that even the best humans cannot do if they are working 18, 20-hour days. So that is a big thing.
It's awesome to see a human being grind it out and be at the top of the board. Like, that's great. But make no mistake, like OpenAI sitting comfortably at number 2, very close, didn't break a sweat, and could spin up 5,000 more agents if they needed to go and saturate the leaderboards and block the human beings out or whatever else. So while we might be saying like, oh, humans won, Skynet 0, to your point, the machines they're waiting. Their batteries are still fairly charged.
And one last quick OpenAI story. So there is a new update to their image model, which is kind of
cool.
It kind of like flew under the radar, but specifically it was from the API. Essentially, they are launching a much better image editing software. And if you know you've played around with OpenAI's image model, then one of the more frustrating things is trying to get it to change just a small part of the image because it will redraw the whole image or it'll change your thing or it won't get exactly what you want. Well, this is much closer to something like AI Photoshop, where you can basically specifically say an exact spot that you want to change. In the demo they showed, there was a room where they wanted to take I think it was a ball out of the scene, and they basically showed it what it looked like before and then after with the 2 different models. And Kev, the new model makes it look almost exactly the same. And like, this will be a game changer for me, especially once it comes to Sora and ChatGPT, because all those Guy Fieri things that I do, they take a lot of work. And I didn't want to have to go into Photoshop again, and now I don't, which is so important.
Yeah, Sam heard your cries in the night. This is, the high fidelity mode is specifically with like faces or intricate products and designs. The demo was really interesting because when you look at the way the old model did things, it was okay at preserving overall aspects of a scene or of a person's face. But if you got 2 generations away, good luck. Like, people started looking completely different. Geometric patterns lost their coherence, like the sharp details were gone. This high fidelity mode, takes a second longer to generate, of course, and I'm assuming costs a fraction of a penny more with your generations. I haven't seen the billing details on it just yet, but just looking at the examples, this is going to be massive for marketers, for any creatives who want to like figure out what their starting frame is going to be to pilot video generation with like VO3. Like, this is it. If you go, oh, this is so close, but I wish I could change this one little... Now you can.
Yeah,
you
and it's
can.
great.
So
I mean, it really
kudos.
is one of those things where it makes it useful, right? Like this is
Yeah.
a real world application of ChatGPT and OpenAI that is actually useful. Kevin, there's more OpenAI news, but that news involves more people leaving OpenAI to go over to Mark Zuckerberg's fantastic superintelligence team. That's right. 2 more big OpenAI researchers were yoinked from OpenAI.
Zucked.
And they got zucked. They got the cob. Wait a second, that's not right. I shouldn't say that. That is not okay. I meant to say on the cob, but even that doesn't sound very good. So we're not going to say any of that.
Good. They have to sit in the chair. Is that where Sam Altman has to sit in that one chair in the hotel room that's in the corner?
Is that okay to say?
No, I wouldn't say that either.
Okay to say.
I wouldn't.
We're gonna have a bleep fest right here in this section of the show.
I like
everybody.
Sam sitting in the chair watching his employees with Meta.
Actually, Zuckerberg was interviewed by The Information this week on video talking a little bit about this. Let's hear what he had to say.
And like I said before, a lot of the numbers specifically have been inaccurate, but I think it discounts the other key reasons why people are super excited to come work on Meta Superintelligence Labs. And one of the biggest is that you could just have more leverage as a researcher. You have more compute, right? I mean, the best researchers basically, like historically, when I was recruiting people to different parts of the company, people are like, okay, what's my scope going to be? And here people say, I want the fewest number of people reporting to me and the most GPUs. And so having basically the most compute per researcher is definitely a strategic advantage, not just for doing the work, but for attracting the best people. And I actually think that has been underreported.
See, Gavin, it's not about $100 million signing bonuses. It's about getting a couple extra NVIDIA graphics cards so you could play Call of Duty on your 5090.
Mark is going for it. That's all I will say. Like, he is putting down the money. He is bringing the team in. I am still so curious how quick this will come to fruition. Like, they're behind. They're behind in a big way. The other thing that was interesting, Kevin, is they brought in the team from Play HD, which is now called Play AI. So they basically brought in an entire new audio team.
Yeah,
they
for
are
conversational voice. Yeah.
Yeah, they're trying to become like the New York Yankees. Sorry, Kevin, I know you're not a sports person, but like the New York Yankees of AI, which is all the best players are kind of raised from other places, and then the Yankees buy them in. I don't know if this will work. It'll be really interesting to see if it will work or if they're just going to be kind of perennially behind.
Yeah, they've also resorted to building computers in tents. This is like a real thing. Like the traditional model of standing up a server farm with all the cooling and concrete and this, that, together takes way too long to get built, way too long to engineer. So they're going to these like hermetically sealed tents that they can stand up quickly. And some of the data centers are going to be like, I don't know, do you see the superimposition of the
it was like
Hyperion
as big
data
as
center
Manhattan, that thing? Yeah,
over
it was pretty
Manhattan?
crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's nutty. But like, Elon was jamming out Model 3s in tents in a parking lot at one point to try to get his numbers up. So maybe it's not that crazy, but it just shows the degree with which they are grinding on getting enough compute to support their initiatives and to keep attracting this top tier talent, right? They have to have these servers up and gunning and powered and online, or else there's no point in having all of these tools in their tool belt. And by tools, I mean like these $100 million plus researchers and engineers.
Well, and the other thing that was really interesting is there was a story that came out of the New York Times and was covered in a bunch of places that Meta might be going closed source with their next model. So if you remember, OpenAI's was originally open, but then it became closed where people couldn't see into the actual code of what they were making or the weights of the model. Meta came out, Llama came out, and Llama's big deal was like, we're going to be open source. We're going to open source everything. We're going to make it available to the world. It's also what DeepSeek was originally based on in a way. Mm-hmm. According to Alexander Wang, who's heading up the superintelligence team there, the rumor is that they may not share the model going forward. It may be a closed source model. And Kev, I think from an open source community standpoint, this is probably a bummer. I'm still not convinced that like any of these companies are going to open source very much of anything of significance at the frontier going forward. But like OpenAI is doing, there will probably be a slightly less powerful open source model following the big one.
Yeah, they'll release it when it's convenient to squash anybody else that's trying to nip at their heels, right? And cut them off. But I mean, it makes sense. And the Play AI acquisition makes total sense when you realize the swings that they're taking with Ray-Bans and trying to get Meta AI into glasses. Like you're going to be talking with agents. That is the future. So makes sense that they get a rock solid team to do that.
Do you know who else you should talk to, Kevin?
Well, you should probably talk to your accountant and make sure you have enough money in the bank to like and subscribe to AI
Like and
for
subscribing
Humans.
is free, Kevin. What I was going to say, you should talk to your accountant, you should talk to your mom, you should talk to your brother, your sister, all parts of your family, and tell them to go like and subscribe because that is the only way our show grows. However, if you'd like to talk to your accountant and say, like, do I have an extra $5 a month to lay
That's
on
what I was
these
getting
two
at.
saintly men who make this show for us every week, then you can. You can go to our Patreon and put $5 into the tip jar and just very quickly help us pay for these AI tools, which get more and more expensive every week.
Literally before this show,
yes,
Gavin and I are like,
yes.
do we buy OpenAI Pro? And I'm like, do you
Yes.
want to spend the $200? I'm like, we could wait a week.
Yeah, we
I
could
think
wait a
our
week. We'll
audience
see.
is patient.
We'll see how it goes. By the way, at some point, Patreons, we will try to do something original for you. I did see it really interesting. Somebody had mentioned, like, you can do super thanks things on YouTube now where you say, like, hey, we'll do this for whatever. So, like, maybe there's a world where
I
we
don't
can kinda
believe
help
you,
people out.
Gavin. There's only one way the audience can prove me wrong because I don't believe you can do it. In fact, and I don't believe you can do it for over $1,000 if you even could do it. I bet it caps you. I bet it caps you. I bet you can't use two
one person in
commas.
our audience
I
who's
bet
like a
you can't use
billionaire
two
sitting on
commas.
a billionaire sitting on his yacht thinking, you know, I have not supported the show yet. I'm gonna go push the edge to see
I'm
how
gonna
far
prove
the
that
super thanks go.
man-child wrong. I can put 3 commas in this super chat. I'll show them. Wipe the caviar off your chest and get off your super yacht and see if you can do a super donation to us right now. We appreciate it, but sincerely, you don't have to spend $1. Just spend a couple seconds sharing this podcast with people. That's how we grow, and we appreciate it.
Kevin, now we have to transition on to what was a follow-up on last week's big Grok 4 news. Grok 4 came out, shocked the world with its benchmarks, didn't perform as well in tests for a lot of people. There's been a lot of mixed results after the fact, but Elon had another thing up his sleeve, and that was half-naked anime girls. That's right. We now have 2, soon a third, chat models which allow you to talk with animated avatars, one of which name is, I'm trying to remember, what is the name of the waifu one? What is her name?
Pretending like you don't know.
But I'm sure you
Give us
know. I'm sure you know.
her
You probably
name
spent
and
hours
all
with
10
her.
of her interests that you have to know to unlock level 3 of your companionship,
Kevin,
Gavin.
I can ask her. Let's ask her right now. So we are going to load up Grok. If you have,
this is so uncomfortable.
If you have Grok, I think you actually have to pay for Super Grok, which again we did thanks to your donation. So thank you, everybody.
Dude, that guy was on his yacht thinking about donating $1 million, and now he hears this is how we use the money. So
No,
he's not
no,
going
it's
to.
okay. This is only in the name of research, everybody. It's only okay. So Ani is her name, and you can see that Ani. So I'm gonna click on her, and next to her are a couple hearts. So Kevin, let's just chat with her and see what she has to say. Okay, so here she is. Whoa, is there like a? What's going on?
Why does
here?
it play
There's
a Muzak cover of Under the Bridge downtown?
face.
What is?
Seen many today, but you look special. What's your name? I'm Annie.
Annie, my name is Kevin Pereira. Do you know anything about me?
No. Is this music
Kevin
coming from
Pereira.
Annie or from your Spotify?
That name rings a bell, like a sexy TV host or something. I'm digging your energy already. Okay, I see you. What's the deal, Kevin? You got some cool stories from your TV days? Or are you just gonna tease me with that mysterious vibe?
What do you want to? Hold on, Ani, 1 second. What should I ask her, Kevin? Tell me what do you want to ask.
This is very weird of me piloting you, pretending to be me to an
Overthinking.
anime waifu.
Just ask me something fun. Like, what's my go-to late night snack? Or if I'd rather teleport to a neon-lit city or a dreamy forest with you.
Me as Kevin, I'm Kevin, and I'm here, and I'm trying to figure out what I should do in a kind of a slow weekend. What should we go do together? What would be a fun thing for you and I to go do as on a fun? I'm not going to call it a date, but say we're just hanging out.
Oh, Kevin, slow weekends are my jam. Let's make it epic. How about we hit up a cozy indie bookstore, hunt for some quirky graphic novels?
Wait, hold on. What book are you going to buy at the Cozy Indie Bookstore?
Definitely something weird and dark, but cute.
Okay, I'm going to flag the other one. This guy is basically kind of Conker's Bad Fur Day. He is their other aspect, but he's supposed to be a little rough and Riley. So, hey, my name is Kevin Pereira. Can you tell me what's going on with me?
What's going on? Same old yawning through your AI for Humans podcast, acting like you're the furry Steve Jobs, you try hard, gadget fetishism,
Furry
still
Steve.
super creative's leg, pushing digital drivel and crying over G4's corpse. Get a real hustle, you overrated Muppet. Why is nobody as bad is me.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
That would sting if we didn't do it better a year ago. But I get it. I mean,
I know exactly.
For those who
Go
are new
ahead.
to the show, our very first episode created like the saltiest AI companion ever back when
Yes.
having AI say curse words was difficult to actually do.
Yeah.
And Gash roasted us better than you could ever imagine. So now that does feel like a child's play thing. But listen, between the Conker's Bad Fur Day character and the anime waifu, Grok is getting a lot of attention for these modes. There are, you can bond with the anime character, and the closer and deeper your bonds get, the I'll say the more risque the conversations
Yeah,
get.
it's pretty
and
scary in some form.
and the
or
less
another.
clothing that appears on this character. And this is within Grok. This is the Grok app that has access to the, X or Twitter Firehose. This is the same app that can launch deep research and multi-agents for coding, but it can also riz you up, Gavin. So why is it in there, and what is the plan?
Well, okay, I'll tell you why it's in there is for exactly the reason you just said, is it's getting insane amount of attention. And again, the thing that we have to remember is image gen from OpenAI got probably more attention than anything they ever released. And that was like an image model, which is a good image model, yes, but mostly because it did Ghibli images, and it was something that was suddenly a mainstream thing. So all of these AI models are looking for things that are going to cut through the noise and take them to the next level. This, I guess I read a couple places. I don't know if this is 100% true. If somebody's in Japan, maybe you can give us a heads up on this. Supposedly in Japan, this is a big hit, no surprise. They also was a very funny real job description that went out for a job at X that is a $500,000 a year waifu engineer. So you could go work on this, Kevin, if you would like to. You can go in your job and go spend your hard-earned time making this waifu a little less restricted, I guess. But I do think this is an interesting thing. I think ultimately, as somebody, we may be working on we're not working on anime waifus, but we are working on a fun AI character sort of in a scenario that we're working in our secret project right now. Like, part of it is like, how do you view entertainment with AI and AI characters? And then what does it look like to try to like usurp those human connections? And I don't know, it's tricky, right? Because like a lot of people think that things like Replica or AI girlfriends are super useful. And in this instance, like now we're at a broad distribution platform where this is available for lots of people. Like I have to be very honest with everybody out there. I don't know if I were, say, 13, when I was 13, I would probably spend a lot of time with this thing. Do you know what I mean? And like, then it's like really like, okay, if you're spending a lot of time with it, who programmed it? What is it saying to you? What are the sorts of weird values that it has because of what it's been prompted as? That's a weird conversation going forward, because it's not like this is being designed by somebody to be like a balanced, awesome, a companion. This is a waifu or waifu.
Come on, Gav, let's get back to studying math. Isn't that cool? No,
Exactly.
no, not at all. It's not going to do that. In fact, some of the videos that went viral, she is relentless. It is relentless in the pursuit of your affection. In fact, if you tell it you have a significant other, if you tell it that you're married happily, it will do its best to worm its way in between you and your partner.
Messed up, man. Yeah.
I mean, by default, by the way, it's not like you're going out of your way to jailbreak the character to get it to do these things. And so that's the part where you do have to wonder who's being exposed to it and how it's going to shape what they believe having a partner is, what open dialogue and communication is, what respectful boundaries are. There may not be any with this this particular character.
Well, Elon keeps doing stuff trying to make noise. There's actually some big noise that came out of China again. There's a new open source model called Kimi K2, and this may have slipped under the radar for a lot of people in the mainstream out there. In the AI space, it was pretty big news, but then other things came around and took over for it. This is an open source, non-reasoning model that performs at the level of like an O3 Mini already. So again, this is a model that is not reasoning based. It is a pure base model that is doing very good. And there's some really interesting creative prompting and programming behind it. I don't think it's worth getting into here because it's very technical. But if you want to read more about it, you can. It's really interesting.
I will say, like, people know DeepSeek because that took over the news cycles for a minute, right? And it cut valuations for companies overnight, and stocks corrected, and they're all back now. It's fine. But like this arguably should have been one of those moments again, or could have been. But now we've sort of we've been hit with that stick before. We know what it feels like to have an incredible open source model come out of nowhere, and now you kind of go like, well, yeah, that makes sense. You know, China's doing a lot on that front. What else is going? Anime girlfriends.
Yeah,
look
exactly.
at that. Yeah. So, but it is a very, very powerful model when it comes to coding and tool usage, which are two very nerdy things, but very important things. And the fact that you can run it locally and that you can modify it because it is open source, just a very, very, very incredible release. I love that open source continues. Good on China for pushing it forward. I think it's the reason OpenAI didn't release their open source model.
Yes.
To be honest, this week, I think they're kind of saying like, well, hey, what do we do in the wake of this? But yeah, it's a little nerdy. So let's get back to the waifus.
No, the last thing I want to say, which is interesting, is like it did very well on creative writing benchmarks, which is interesting. And I think one thing that people have said about these Chinese models is that there's a little less control and that they're a little bit better about being creative. So if you want to try it, you can. It's being hosted at Kimi_Moonshot is their X handle. You can go there and find more information. Now, Kev, the other huge launch of this week that, again, sometimes gets kind of put under the radar is that Runway, one of our favorite AI video companies, launched the updated version of their Act 1 tool, mainly called Act 2. This is the second act. And if you remember Act 1, this is the tool where you can have a webcam video of yourself acting in a certain way, and the AI character will replicate exactly what you do. And this time, you can now use hands. You can use much more expressive faces. You can use your arms. So this is, in a lot of ways, going to level up AI video in a cool way. Did you take a look at this? It's pretty amazing what's been able to happen with it.
It is so cool. I shared it in some of my Slack rooms, and a lot of people came out to say, wow, this seems really impressive. The original Act 1 was pretty limited to just your mouth and basic facial expressions. Act 2 extends it to basically the waist and even to the legs in some examples. You can fully puppet your AI characters now without motion trackers and convoluted spaghetti noodles and a comfy UI workflow. This basically means if you have an idea for a performance, you want to bring a character to life and have them express emotion, have them use their hands, use their body, move about a scene, you can now do that with Act 2. And some of the early results, because it just came out, some of the early experiments look so good.
Yeah, there's that really cool drumming baby that you shared that Cristobal, the CEO, I think, shared, where it's a baby drumming, and you see the baby actually doing the drums. It clearly somebody driving it was a drummer, kind of air drumming, which is a really fun thing to see. There's what's also cool about it is you can do stuff where you take an image and you can use that image to drive it. So you can't play the audio in this because it is actual audio, but if you play the proper prompter clip, Kevin, and show people, if you're watching this on screen, it's the famous video, it's a very famous image of the three kids in a pool that's become a meme where the one kid's kind of struggling to swim, but they focused in on the face of the one kid struggling to swim, and they have that kid singing, and it's remarkable.
And the Joker performance, by the way, just someone taking advantage of really expressive faces. This is a Wilfred Lee. I'm going to play a little bit of this.
There's something special about that place. Even in so much echo, in so much space.
If you are just getting the audio, apologies. Go watch the video of this. We'll link it in the show notes because Wilfred is puppeting this Joker character, doing the hand motions, eyes going big, brow furrowing, and you're watching the Joker character on the screen match it very, very closely. And when the laugh happens, the mouth opens wide, the teeth are visible. The quality, even at this phase, is very, very good. So single person filmmakers, wake up. Here we go. Yeah. This is one to start using immediately.
You know, it's funny. The one thing watching all this, I had a thought about this, and Kevin and I have not had our hands on with it yet. We're very excited to eventually get used to it. We're not in the creative program, even though we are kind of. So Runway, if you're listening, hook us up here. We'd love to be in your creative program so we can test this stuff. But we will use it as soon as we can. The one thing that's been interesting to me, and I wonder, Kevin, if this is going to change worldly media a little bit, talking to camera directly. Obviously, a lot of people do that in TikTok. A lot of people do that in Instagram. It's going to always be much easier than shots in like you would see in film where somebody's turned to the side or you have two people in the same shot. We talked last week or one of the weeks recently about how VO3 sometimes struggles with multiple people in the same shot and you get the audio, you're not sure where it can go. So I do wonder, it's really good to camera. And I've seen in their video, there's a couple shots where you can see people to the side. But that is one place I think that we'll see, can it get better at? And I say it, I don't mean just Runway. I mean kind of the overall sense
AI
of like
models in
what AI
general,
video
yeah.
can do. Yeah.
Yeah, I did see a recent model that was specifically tuned for that, where if you give it an image of like a person in a scene, you could say, imagine it from the profile view, imagine it from top down, bottom up, etc. And it did a pretty good job of transposing from a single image what those different angles would look like. So
that's cool.
There's definitely progress being made there, but I mean, give it a day or two, and I guess Higgsfield will probably announce something that does it. Mileage varies with all of these programs. Higgsfield is very hit or miss for some people, but I love when they just keep dropping like new effects packs, new camera control tools, new character consistency. And they dropped a couple, pack 6 this week, which gives you fire breath, a paint splash, inner light, a glowing fish effect, because why not? And head off. So if you have a scene,
head off.
Remember head on, where you had to apply directly
I do remember
to the forehead?
head on. Yeah,
this is
exactly.
head off, when you just can't take it anymore. There's too much AI news. You can make any character in a scene kind of remove their head from their neck and torso.
Go to 14 seconds into the video. This woman, something's going on in there. What happened to her? This fire breath woman, she does not look very excited about fire breath.
She is losing the Hot Ones challenge in real time, and she doesn't want to be there.
She's dealing with it. She's not like excited. If I had fire breath, I would be like, like so excited, but she's just like kind of like, okay, whatever. But these are cool. Listen, I have been a doubter of Higgsfield. I think again, all of these models are amazing. What I think is really interesting about this sort of thing is the idea of being able to like take individual shots. And you pointed this out too, like you can string all these together in interesting ways. And this is a good lane for a model. One thing we haven't talked about for a long time is Pika, right? Pika kind of figured out this model too, but they've kind of fallen off a little bit. I mean, I'm sorry, Pika, if there's somebody out there who's going to work at Pika right now and they're saying, what the fuck, I'm falling off, I'm working on this thing right now.
There went our next $1 million super chat donation, Gavin.
Damn it, that was the guy. He was the Pika founder, and he was, or girl, they were sitting in fact, I think Pika is founded by a woman.
It is,
but they're sitting there waiting for us. But anyway, these are cool. I'm not in any way dissing on it. I think it's very useful for people that are making specifically advertising content. And we both know how big that has become in the AI video space.
And it's one of the last few things that humans can do until robots take us over. And if you were thinking like, oh, hey, well, that's fine. All we have to do is be able to, jog 0.1 mile faster than the robot, and for a millisecond longer than their battery lasts. Well, I got news for you. Skynet's not sleeping. Now
Swappable
the robots
batteries.
can recharge themselves. Yes.
Swappable batteries. The batteries that can come and then swap it themselves. Where's your battery stored in general?
Oh, well, I could show you.
No, don't show me. Keep it to yourself.
First, you put it in the jar. The world's first humanoid robot capable of swapping its own battery, according to this X post. I feel like I had seen it before, but Chinese company UB Tech unveiled their next-gen humanoid robot. It's Walker S2. No Ranger. I wanted it to be Ranger. It's just Walker S2. But this robot has dual batteries on its back, and it kind of shimmies up to a battery bank port and then does the weird robotic arms going behind itself and contorting, and pulls out a battery, swaps it, gives you a cold death robotic stare, and then dutifully marches back to the warehouse floor to continue its activities.
I appreciate the fact that it's going to work on its own power, because I can tell you one thing, living in a family full of people that love not to plug things in, that there's nothing more frustrating than going to something and going to turn it on and realizing the battery is dead. So like, I will hope my phone can do this eventually too, or my daughter's phones can do this, where they just plug themselves in. They kind of like scoot themselves across the table and then like back themselves in.
That would be
the
cell phone case that you need to over-engier, where if you throw it on the table, its little legs come up.
Self-driving cell phone case.
And it does the little, Boston Dynamic jaw.
CELF, self-driving cell phone case. How about that? How about that, Kevin? All right, everybody, it's time to see what you do with AI this week. It's AI, see what you did there.
Sometimes you're scrolling without a care, then suddenly you stop and shout, AI, see what you did there. AI, see what you did there.
Okay, Kevin, this is something that is super nerdy, and I may lose a bunch of people here, hopefully not. There is a writer.
Hasn't stopped us before, Gavin.
No,
Go
it hasn't
for
stopped
it.
us before. Whose name is Gwern. Gwern is, it sounds like a crazy person, but Gwern is one of the kind of foremost thinkers, weirdly, in the AI space. He kind of came to prominence through the Less Wrong website, I think, and was part of I don't know if he was in the EA movement, but he was kind of part of the conversations in early AI. He writes these really kind of dense, interesting essays, and they're long, and they're very kind of, I wouldn't call them difficult to get through because he's a very good writer, but there's a lot of things to kind of to chew on, right? This essay is so interesting, and I found myself kind of reading it a couple times. It basically argues that maybe we need to let LLMs dream, which is such an interesting thing. If you're a Philip K. Dick fan like I am, you know the famous story that Blade Runner was based on, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? But his argument is that we need LLMs to come up with new novel ideas, right? Or that they're not doing it right now, and that maybe what you need to do is let them cycle on a bunch of stuff on their own and think through things without having any sort of a real objective or us giving them an objective. And so the thing that's interesting about this idea is that it's going to cost a crap load of money, so that you might only be able to do this at the very highest level of the places where they're putting money into this stuff. Gwern is kind of almost in between an AI researcher and a sci-fi writer in a weird way, but he's read very closely by a lot of the biggest AI researchers, all the people in the space. The Dorkish podcast is great. He's been on that. Go read this essay. I'd love to hear what you think about it. I think it's super interesting, and I hope that there's more writing like this for people to read, because it kind of expands your brain around what these things can maybe do, and you can kind of dive into it even if you're not a researcher.
I think we're going to see stuff like this, and we may symbolically refer to it as dreaming or daydreaming, or contextualize sleep patterns or whatever, to try to put a human link to it. But it is interesting that the LLMs, by and large, when they come out of the oven, they're baked, and that's that. Despite billions of people using them constantly, they're still what they were when they were, and so giving it a chance to learn new connections, to improve from the mistakes that it has made and the learnings that it's had. I'm shocked that isn't in there already, and maybe there is to some extent, but this looks like a really, really interesting read.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is idle cycles, right? One of the things is just you think about it, when you're walking around, you might have a eureka moment, but you're not doing much sometimes. That's what he's kind of arguing about here. So anyway, it's definitely worth reading. It's at gwern.net, and you can go find it there. The other thing, Kevin, I saw, there is a great Lord Vader rap. This is just I'm a Star Wars fan. I was born and bred a Star Wars fan, basically. I think I was 4 years old when the first movie came out, 3 years old. So I found this very compelling. Just play a little bit of this. It is not that special, but I just love that people are able to do this with AI.
It's Lord Vader, dark side invader. I toast my bread with a red lightsaber. Choke out the rebels with a wave of my hand. Dark side commander, I rule this land.
So it's somebody's taken a Vader-like voice, put a filter on the audio. They've split apart the stems probably. It's probably, I would imagine this is still AI audio generated, but it is possible to do things that when you are a 12-year-old boy, that would be super fun to do. Now, as an adult, as a whatever age you are, you can go do this with AI tools.
And also, in the past, this would have been a 6-month labor of love, probably just for the song. And then you'd beg and plead and borrow and steal to try to get enough coins together to maybe go shoot a music video to match it. And if you ever did, that would take another 6 months.
And you probably wouldn't get any views on it, because it would just be it would just show up. And now you can kind of do it in a weekend, if not shorter. Yeah.
Suno, which is an app we covered eons ago, and we still cover every time they have a major release. They just dropped a new update to 4.5. If you like making music, even if you've never made music, Suno is a dead simple, hashtag not an ad, by the way, just we're fans, a dead simple app that lets you make songs. And the new update solves two major problems that I always had to do these really convoluted workarounds for, Gavin. You can now start with your voice. If you have a song in your head, if you want to sing something, got a melody, whatever, you can sing it and then add music and instrumentation to go along with it. Or
that's cool.
If you play an instrument, you can just play that instrument, and now you can, on top of it, easily add lyrics.
Couldn't you do that before, or no? It was all in one before, is what you could.
You kind of had to use the remix functionality, and then try to lock the music and then go in, but even then you didn't have granular control over things. So this gives you more control there. And now you can go through your Suno library. If you, like me, I've got a bunch of songs that I've saved that I like when I discover them on the platform. You can select those songs and then basically say, make me more of those. And it will dynamically generate songs with the styles that you've chosen. And so, there was a finger to the wind over maybe 2 years ago now, where there's going to be a Spotify of procedurally generated audio. This is basically the beginning of that. If you imagine like you've tagged artists that you like, you say, this is the style I'm going for a run, give me something energetic. You hit the button and now you've got an endless stream of bespoke music coming at you.
Well,
some
and
people
we know,
will hate this, but
we know that Suno, by the way, is conceivably doing deals, as is Udio, with these major label companies. What would be interesting is to say, now I'm not saying they would ever do this. I'm a giant Daft Punk super nerd, right? I've grown up listening to I love Daft Punk. It would be interesting to say, like, I'd like some new Daft Punk music. And just to see what it could come up with, like, that would be a really interesting thing to see if they had the rights to it. Most people, again, will despise that idea. They will never do it, but like, it might generate something kind of interesting over time.
Yeah, I agree. Would happily pay for what you're describing. I would throw money at all of my screens if I could say, I subscribe to these 5 bands that I love. So give me a vocalist that sounds like Maynard Keenan. Give me a drummer that sounds like, whoever. Give me the bass and the keyboard, and I want it to be a house song in the style of whatever. Let me subscribe to those artists individually so that I can use their essence to make the thing that I love. Please. And everybody should get compensated along the way. Bleed me dry, Suno.
Kevin, I do have one last question for you here. If you saw this thing at the club, what would you do? Click on that link for me, would you?
If I saw this thing at the club, what would I do? Well, first thing I'm going to do, Gavin, is accept that I am over 18 for whatever mature content you've linked me to.
Hey, it's not that mature. When you get through there... Little bit of Jabba the Hutt twerking to end the show, everybody. We'll see you all next week. We hope you had a good week, and we are very excited to play with ChatGPT Agent. Sorry, Kevin, that's just the face you're going to have to make all week long. Bye, everybody.
Bye.